No.
And we're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just a Business Hangout. As you can tell, we are missing Carol this week. Carol is having a computer issue, so she's getting it fixed. So she'll hopefully be back with us next week. Dominic and Forrest are here. Forrest, tell us who you are and why you're here.
I am Forrest Ugenin, owner of Intentional Money Solutions, and I am a money and business strategist. And I help business owners make their money and their businesses more profitable.
I love it. And Dom, what do you do and why are you here?
What I'm doing and why I'm here. I always ask myself that every day. No, I'm here to discuss business topics and just let everybody know that we're not necessarily selling something, but we need to let other people who know us what we do as well. So, I'm Dominic from Northside Hawk, and I create high-quality aerial visuals. And I also do some funny T-shirts and other things that make people laugh. So, back to you.
Wonderful. And I'm Sarah. I'm with Off the Beaten Path Consulting, and I help build HR and leadership platforms for small and medium-sized companies. And I also have a series of coloring books. And before we get into our topic today, I'm going to tell you what I did over the weekend. And it wasn't just 4th of July, people. So over the weekend, if you do not know that I have coloring books, you should go to my website. My little characters are at the top there. And I named them all. I gave them names. Because I know Forrest is going to laugh at me, and that's fine. But what happened was so many people were asking me what their names were. And I'm like, I don't have names. So I'm not going to give them all to you right now. There's going to be a post about it. But anyways, I named them all.
Well, I'm not laughing. I assumed that characters should have names. I was unaware that you hadn't named them.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't. I don't know why. It just never seemed like a thing I needed to do. You know what I mean? And I don't know. And so, yeah, they now all have names.
Okay.
And very cute names. So look for the reveal sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
And just to remind everybody out there, Sarah has some adult coloring books.
I do. Coloring books for adults, not adult coloring books, but that's all right. However, this kind of leads us into, in my opinion, leads into our topic of the day or the starting topic, I should say, because we started talking about old school things that people do in their businesses, right? Or types of things that are still old school that we use in business. And part of me says that coloring books are a little bit old school, right? Kids learn how to use coloring books. They can be modern, but it's like a little kid thing, right? And a lot of times adult coloring books are put into a negative adult coloring book category, or they're like those complicated ones. And that's not my coloring books, but I think, what are some tools or things that you guys still use that are old school, maybe, or meant for a younger crowd, like in my idea here?
I guess for me, with the world going so digital,
Yeah.
I still like the feel of pen on paper, so we'll take notes on paper when it's feasible.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, when I go to like this past weekend, sorry, you said what you did, but this past weekend I was at a religious convention. Because of the location and how things go, it's easier for me to actually use my tablet to write. But I'm still writing. Like I'm not typing out my notes. I'm writing on the tablet freehand. So I guess the method, I should say the technology, whether it's paper or whether it's a screen, I just need to be writing, because when I write, it transmits the thoughts to my brain more effectively.
I have I have the iPad pencil thing, and I love it. It works so much easier. And then I don't know if anybody has an Apple Watch, but I don't know. Have you ever texted on your Apple Watch? You actually like write the letters. and to text on your Apple Watch. It's so
Hmm.
interesting. You use your finger.
No, I've got the very first version of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mine's
I have
11 years old. So
you have a real watch.
Samsung.
So sometimes I miss real watches though.
No, this is a
Uh,
Samsung.
oh, it's a digital watch too? Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
All right. So Dom, what about you? Do you have old school things you use?
Well, I have taken recently to just when I get a thought, is write it on a piece of paper very quickly.
Mm.
Okay.
And I used to do that, 20 or 30 years ago, where I'd go through those um, little Spyro
Oh, the little
notepad.
pocket notebook things.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
now I use the post-it notes. Still post-it notes.
So,
2026, and I'm using post-it notes.
so let me ask you a question, Dom. How effective is that when it comes to recalling the information? Do you find yourself writing down a bunch of stuff and then misplacing it and forgetting it, or are you actually regurgitating the information that you wrote down and putting it into use?
No, if a random thought pops into my head, I put it straight on a piece of paper,
Hmm.
like a post-it note, and then when I get home or when I get back to a situation where I can sit down and actually diarize it, it goes further into other a bigger notepad, and then that notepad then goes into more the notepad on the phone, so I don't lose it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if you're in the middle of nowhere and you've got a random thought, I just quickly, write very quickly,
Yeah.
and then add to it later. Because it might be just a random thought or just
Oh,
an idea or something that's popped up. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could use that as a post. Maybe I could use that in social media. Maybe
yeah.
I could use that in, a nice, another t-shirt concoction.
Okay. Sarah, how do you capture random thoughts?
So I am completely a technology person, and I, in some ways, I believe in a paperless society. Number one, we would save trees. Number two, you don't lose pieces of paper, right? But give or take about 5 years ago now, I went completely Apple. So the one thing I love about it is the notes function anywhere I'm at. So whether I'm on my watch, my phone, my iPad, or my computer, if I make a note, it goes directly to the other thing. So if I'm out and about and I put a note on my phone, I show up on my computer, it's now my task list right there because I put it on the same list that's on my phone. So
Mhm.
for me, it's a streamline of consciousness that ends up being everywhere that I am, and it makes my life easier. Now I get that I'm not an Apple person or salesperson. I don't make commission. Who's ever watching this?
Yeah.
But
Not
with
sponsored by Apple.
Microsoft, yeah, exactly. Not unless you want to. If Apple's
No, if
watching and they
Apple's
want to
listening,
sponsor, we're not going to
yeah,
argue.
if Apple's listening or any other sponsors out there want
Right.
to come on board and sponsor us, we'll take
Mhm.
we'll take
And
everybody
we'll
on
even
board.
wear the T-shirt if you send us one. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but with Microsoft products, it's a little bit harder. Are you guys Microsoft or Apple?
I'm Samsung. So
Samsung.
when I take notes on my tablet, it goes to my phone. It's the same
I
app
love it. Same
platform.
concept. Okay. Now, do you have the ability? Does it go on your computer too? Like, do you have an app on your computer that lets you get
I
the
don't
stuff off of
have
the
an
other?
app on my computer, no, because and if there is one, I wouldn't use it.
Oh,
The
okay.
reason being is because I look to my phone and my tablet for my notes.
Oh,
So
because that's where it lives, so you don't
yeah,
even look on your
exactly.
computer.
I
Sure.
wouldn't look. It would just be another place that it's at that would just be useless to me.
Well, and I think the key part of all of this conversation is to find what works for you,
Hmm.
and don't think that just because you have a tool like a lot of people think I am stuck with Google.
Hmm.
You're not stuck with Google, people. I'm sorry. Just because you have a Gmail does not mean you're stuck there. And I think people think that, that they're kind of stuck there.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Sometimes it does become uncomfortable when you have to move between different ecosystems.
Sure.
Gmail and the whole Google workspace, and then you got the Google workspace, which then can back onto the Zoom workspace, and then you can back onto other things, and they all have to agree with each other.
You don't what?
I don't use Google Workspaces, so.
Oh, okay.
That's not something that I have any knowledge of.
But something just popped into my head for us, and I want to ask you, because I think from your point of view, with money management and working with small businesses and, solo and entrepreneurs, you have to work with people occasionally, if not all the time, that say, I did this in Excel. I have to stay in Excel. Yeah. And if I don't stay in Excel, the world will end. Right.
Yeah.
And they don't even want to consider QuickBooks, and I'm making stuff up. You know what I mean?
Right. No, so. I run into those situations because everybody's got their thing. Like, for instance, I have my digital planner that I provide to my clients. And one of my clients told me, yeah, it's nice, but I'm a paper person. So when are you going to have the paper version? And I was like, I got nothing for you. Like it was never created to be a paper product. So for me to devote time to convert it to paper would sidetrack resources that I need to put towards other things that I'm doing in my ecosystem. So yeah, some people like the digital, some people like the paper, some people like spreadsheets. I was thinking about that as you brought it up. Like, we have all of these fancy CRMs, right? But what really is more effective? Is the CRM and all its different iterations and all of these platforms the best way, or is a good old-fashioned Excel spreadsheet the best CRM you can possibly have?
Well, one of my most recent clients, we went through that because she was using an official CRM, and it was, to her, it was complicated, and basically she just never used it. And I'm like, then why are you paying for it, right? And so we talked about it for literally a couple of weeks on and off during our sessions, and finally we got to the point. She is an Excel lover. She was been using Excel for a very long time, and somebody convinced her to go to a CRM, and she did it almost unwillingly because she thought she was moving into the new era of, her business or whatever. And sometimes moving into the new era isn't what works. Now, if you have 1,000+ clients that you're trying to manage and you probably can't do that in Excel efficiently, right? But this is also, like, from your point of view, is the difference between managing your home finances in Excel and your business finances in something like QuickBooks, right? You're going to get better reporting out of QuickBooks for a business than you will out of Excel. It's just as simple as that.
I think it's really very situational. Like you said, it's the size of the database that you have. For me, it's because people go to my opt-in pages and, enter their email, phone number, and name. That's not going to go to Excel. It has to go into a CRM. So I need to maintain a CRM. But, and this is the gotcha, if I'm on a networking meeting in a group and somebody says, yeah, I'm looking to connect with this type of person, so and so, it's hard for me to kind of pull up my MailChimp CRM or my ScoreApp CRM and research who that person is, where if I was just on an Excel sheet, all I'd need to do is search a certain column for something and up would pop that type of thing. So
yeah, you can search it by keyword easier. Yeah.
So, maybe I'm not using it right, but I think that each of them plays a role in different settings.
Dominic, you have kind of two types of clients. You have people that use the drone side of your world, and then you have people that buy t-shirts. Do you grab names and information of people that grab T-shirts?
It's actually captured via the Fourth Wall app.
Okay. So do you
Inside
have the
Fourth
ability
Wall
to
app.
interact with them afterwards or no?
No, I haven't. Maybe that's a thing that I should be doing.
Oh, I don't know if you can, is what I'm saying, but but I was just curious if, yeah, Fourth Wall, where they buy your T-shirts, is there a way you can export that and maybe email people and say, I don't know, do you need a new T-shirt? I'm joking, but I don't know what you would ask them, but but it might be something to look into.
Yeah.
So, the back to old school things. It was very funny. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show Community.
Mhm.
No,
I've
I never saw it. It's like The Office for right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's in a different setting.
But it's at a community college, and it's like just a group of people. And I never watched it when it came out because it really, I'm still not sure it's my type of comedy. It's more like slapstick comedy in a lot of ways. But we're now stuck on it for because now I'm invested, right? I'm like into season 2 at this point. But point being, there was a whole episode about like around a fax machine concept. And this was in the 2000s, so we're done with fax machines on a regular basis. But it does lead me to think about all of those old technologies. And I know that Dominic had talked about, big freight liners that, take 3 hours to turn around. And, I've seen that happen. I grew up on the Great Lakes, so watching big boats turn around is very exciting, but it takes 3 hours.
Yeah. And while you're on that, I watch a thing called Stream Time Live on YouTube, and it's one of them is actually Port Huron in Michigan.
Yeah.
And I sit there and watch that because, shout out to Paul Murray, who is doing a YouTube live at exactly the same time we're doing it. And he was the one that got me fascinated into watching, boats, watching ships, watching cruise liners.
So you watch ships go in and out of the port, you're saying?
Yeah. I just sit there and I'll watch, have it on in the background.
All right.
I've sat live in Port Huron watching boats for us. So
yeah, and it's a fascination and a hobby that I didn't know I needed and didn't know I had.
Okay.
It's it's like you can only, because the way YouTube works, you can only go back 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just check in to see if there's a ship, and a ship that Paul Murray has actually used his drone to record.
Mm-hmm.
So the
he has
port
I can watch it
live
from the
stream
Time Live perspective and watch it from his orbit of that ship.
So the port itself offers a live stream to the public?
Yes.
That's interesting. I'm surprised they do that in today's security environment.
Stream Time Live does it at various.
There's quite a few places. There's probably a few somewhere on the Hudson River.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying right now never occurred to me. I'm gonna just out of curiosity see if the Brooklyn port or the West Side port in Manhattan has live stream.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It becomes a really fascinating topic, that it's something that you needed that you didn't know you needed, and that's something that there's another topic in that, because just not Stream Time Live, because I've been watching Stream Time Live for the best part. It'd be nearly 4 years, because it was about August I started watching, August 2022 that I started watching it. And now my algorithm is filled with webcams.
Boats trying to turn around?
No, I've got webcams for various places now. Mm-hmm. And I found probably 3 or 4 that are in Melbourne itself.
Okay.
That I can, I can watch my own town, and then watch all the way over in the US.
I think to probably bring this back to kind of a business topic, I'm curious on both of your thoughts on how what this did in my head was show me how small the world is, right? Somebody from Australia and Melbourne can watch boats in Port Huron, Michigan live, right? If you would have said that 20 years ago, okay, maybe 20 years ago somebody was doing it, but you get my point. Like 30 years ago, if somebody would have said somebody from Australia can watch boats in Port Huron live, I'd have been like, no, they can't. Like, that's just dumb, right? Like, it would have to be recorded. You'd watch it later or whatever.
Yeah.
The world is getting smaller. How has that impacted your businesses with the world getting smaller?
Well, you go first.
Both of you said, well. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Well, from my point of view, I find it very fascinating that I can sell a T-shirt to someone overseas, and that I can actually get on the internet, use a method they have, upload the photo, and then sell it to specific countries. Australia, the US, Canada, the UK, and New Zealand. And all I have to do is upload a photo. Okay, go back to the old school methods of shipping, and the postage on these things are really harsh. Hey, Sophia.
Hey, Sophia.
We've got a viewer.
We do.
Hey, Sophia.
And speak about somebody who would have an opinion at some point. We can, if she wants to chime in, an opinion on how the world is getting smaller and how that impacts her business. The fact that she lived in India, has lived in Dubai, lives in Sweden, just got her citizenship in Sweden. The world is definitely big and small for her at the same time. But Forrest, and I probably missed somewhere. I think she has a passport from somewhere else. Sophia, where's your other passport from? Put that in the chat. Forrest, how has a smaller world impacted your company?
I mean, tremendously. If it wasn't for the technology that made the world smaller, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Because during COVID that I launched this thing. So the clients I was getting were actually not local. Like, I had someone ask me one day, well, how many New York clients do you have? And I had to think about it. And I said, none. Like, I had Washington State, California, Texas, Michigan, Florida, Virginia, and there was nobody in New York. So technology means everything to me. Like, for instance, now I wouldn't have a client in Australia like I do now.
That is true.
Granted, I have to meet her at 10 o'clock my time, but she's a paying client. So I wouldn't have her if it wasn't for this smaller world that we live in.
Yeah.
And time zones, that's another fascinating topic, I must say. And the one thing that seems to frustrate me is this time of the year when we don't have daylight saving and the UK does, it's a 9-hour time difference. So it's really hard. It is really, really hard to line up a time that when we're roughly the same, where we can be on, because what our friend Sean Hewitt and Ian Reid on the TPBCA that provide most of their content I can't sit on because they'll go at 6 or 7 in 6 or 7.
Oh, I know. I get invited every time to this one Friday thing where it's like 3 a.m, and I'm like, if I was time
I get to do it.
If Sean ever watches this, Sean, I love you to death, but I don't love you to death at 3 a.m. Sorry. I just can't.
If you ain't sharing my bed, I ain't loving you at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
And even then,
the only time they have, basically a stream a day, a Zoom a day. And if on Thursday mornings, their time, works out at 6 p.m. my time. So while we're having breakfast, I'm having dinner. So it's great that we can connect, but sometimes we have to work around the times. Whereas it seems to be fairly easier to be very easier to actually line up the US Eastern, because 5 p.m. Eastern is now is 7 a.m. my time. So while
it's doable.
Yeah, while the East Coast is having dinner, I'm having breakfast.
Yep. And Sophia's saying, back to the small world thing, the people you wouldn't get to know, it would be clients also, right? But just possibly Forrest and I might have met had, the world not shut down, because maybe we would have been on a conference call or something, like a networking thing. But I wouldn't have met Dominic. I definitively wouldn't have met Sophia. Because when the world shut down for COVID, the world opened up on the internet.
Yeah, and that brings you to an alternate timeline. That if COVID never happened, where would you have been?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here. That much I know. COVID.
I'd be doing something completely different.
Yeah, COVID forced me down a certain path. So really,
I don't know if I've ever asked you this. If you don't mind, what was your job, your whatever, before you started this, like directly
insurance.
Before
Insurance. And then the office shut down, and I was just sitting there like, okay, well, we can't do in-person stuff. He shut down. He just literally shuttered his business, and then he sold it to somebody. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? So and then that's when the government was sending out those checks. So like,
sure,
in New York, you were getting a check, and then the federal government was giving money. So it was enabling people to say, hey, what am I going to do with this money? Am I going to spend it, or am I going to actually start a business? Right. And a lot of people opted to do the business thing, which is what I did with my money.
I love it. Well, it just shows that from day one, you were doing the right thing with your money, and people should listen. You weren't buying a third TV from Costco.
Yeah, okay. No. I mean, I would still be doing this, but it was on a very local, like if I could get a speaking gig at this place or that thing, but it would be nowhere near where it would be right now if it wasn't for COVID.
And it's hard pressed to say that, and this is a bad way to look at it. For some people, COVID was a good thing.
Yeah,
use different words and explain that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I always chart that course and go back to January 2020 and think what the alternate timeline would have been. I certainly would never have been live streaming on the internet, because I hated being on camera. And
well, that's changed.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm basically my face is on more things than postage stamps.
In some ways, yes.
Yeah. And when I look at it, I'm thinking it's been a good thing, because it brought me out of my shell, and I've found and made friends with a few hundred people that I never probably would have met. And shout out to those as well. But yeah, I just think it's fascinating. Okay, there's been the good times and there's been the bad times. But at the same time, I think more good has been had than the bad. But unfortunately, being a person that I am, the nihilism part of it kicks in and thinks, look at what I've lost. But the positive side of it is Look at what I found.
Right.
That is
Right.
true.
Which leads me to a thought, and I think it's one of the hallmarks of very successful people is that they look at quote unquote bad things from a different way that most other people do. So you can have the same thing happen to two different people in very similar economic, familial, cultural backgrounds. One will take it and excel with it, and the other one will just sit down and do nothing, and they'll just wither away on the vine. So
Yes.
then that makes me think and ask this question, which maybe we've answered already, but was COVID, no, let me ask this question. Was COVID, as bad as it was that the only bad thing that you took and turned lemons into lemonade in your life? Like, what other things have happened that you've taken those lemons and turned them into lemonade?
Now that's a question without notice.
Yes, and I want to answer that, and I will, because I love the question. But if I don't remember to tell you this, Forrest, then I'll forget. It'll be October something. Okay, October 13th. Forrest, write that date down. October
Okay.
13th.
All right.
Okay, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but somewhere between the 12th and the 14th of October, I will be in the city of New York.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, since I don't know how to get anywhere, once I know where I am, you're going to take a public transportation.
Yeah, we'll have
and
to
meet
meet
me
up.
for lunch.
Definitely. No, we will meet up for
Okay.
lunch. Let me look at my calendar right now and mark that on there.
So I'll give you details later.
Mhm.
Okay, so lemons to lemonade. One of the things that I don't talk a lot about, and I don't even know if the two of you know. I know Sophia knows a little bit of it, and Brittany knows more than a human probably should. But I've had some. I still do. I've had some medical issues in my life. Okay. And before I was 18, I was told I was going to die 3 times. Like, you're done. Like, this is it. Be ready. Okay. And I'm like, that takes a mental toll on you.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that I made it through that, once I got to college, I was like, nothing's going to hold me back. Nothing is now actively trying to kill me. Now I have some things that are still probably actively trying to kill me. But for the most part, I'm fine. Right. But I think when somebody says, hey, you're going to die, and you believe it, and then you make it over to the next day or the next week or the next year, you get my point? Something clicks in your head that you're just like, I need to do things a little differently.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a lemon I made into a lemonade. I think that, and I think anybody who's been through that scenario probably has the same kind of mental flip in their head of, I need to start doing things a little differently. So
I must say that any day above the dirt line is a bonus.
I agree.
True.
I agree.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Not really. I think it's been an absolute roller coaster ride. When I look back at, the early days of COVID, April of 2020, which is 6 and small change ago, and I look at what's happened, and I'm thinking, would I have gotten here? Would I have gotten to the same spot I am now without some of the heartache that has happened? It seems to be the heartache has fueled further.
Right. Right.
and it sort of pushed me further into, enjoying what life can be.
Okay. So your heartache is your lemons into lemonade situation.
Yeah, and it seems
Mhm.
to have boiled up and really, got me going rather than, and from another point of view, it seems to be, you know, I've gotten to a plateau, and then I basically met someone, and they've pushed me to the another level,
Mhm.
as though there's, something. I'm not going to get into religion here, but
Mhm.
as though there is a higher power that is, forcing the issue forward,
Mm. Mhm.
right? The whole free will versus predeterminism aspect that can
Mhm.
be built into a business, and that becomes a business philosophy where
Mhm.
you feel that each time you've done something, you move towards a an outcome, in
Mhm.
terms of the whole sliding doors, discussion.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing, I don't want to avoid politics or religion, but
Oh,
I per se, right? I just don't want to delve into them too deep. But I do agree with you that sometimes, like, when you even, we've all been in those situations that even though we keep pushing something away, we somehow still end up in that spot.
mm,
And you got to wonder what pushed you there, right?
mm.
Like whether you believe in fate, a god, a tree nymph, I don't care. Something is getting you there, and I think that that's an interesting concept. But
And
Forrest, what about
something.
you? What has been your lemon?
Well, outside of COVID, I would think that my lemon was probably divorce.
Okay.
So, divorce, as distasteful as it was, forced me to confront some personal things about myself, and with professional help get answers to why do I keep making this choice again and again and again. So if it wasn't for that, I might still be stuck in that decision loop.
Mm,
Mm,
So yeah, divorce was that thing. And to Dominic's statement about, things. Well, first, let me say this to you, Sarah. You said you're pushing something away, pushing, 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 and you keep circling back to it.
right.
There's an interesting philosophy out there that the thing that you focus on the most is what you materializes in your life. So if you're pushing, pushing, pushing it away, you're in some way focusing on it.
That is true.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
can
it
see
comes
that.
back around. But then, which kind of ties into the lemons and the lemonades thing. And I'm paraphrasing this story. I may be getting parts of it wrong, but there's the gist is still there.
Okay.
So this this Indian brave found a horse, and he fell in love with it,
hey,
raised it from
Dan.
a child, and the horse threw him, and
Okay.
he broke his leg, and it seemed like such a terrible thing at the time. But then the tribe got called to war, and he couldn't go because his leg
Of his
was
leg.
broken. Um, Everyone in the tribe died in the battle, and he survived. So, was him breaking his leg a bad thing, or was it a good thing? It all depends on your point of view.
True. True. And you can guarantee that one guy going to war wouldn't have kept everyone else from perishing, right? But
Probably, yeah.
him staying back, maybe
Mhm.
he now could have, like, he can protect the women and children that were left behind or
Mhm.
rebuild the whatever.
Yeah.
So I see your point. Like there's like a lot of viewpoints to that. Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And apparently Dan loves lemonade.
Yeah.
And no.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Uh-huh. All right. Dan,
So
we can still hook up.
yes. And hey, if you can fly to California, you can fly to New York. Go visit him in person. I'm joking, Dan. You don't have to.
But, as I said, bringing that topic that you said you were going to New York,
Yes.
I'm hoping that, when when I eventually get to the United States, that a number of people that I know online will show me around the town.
Yes. If you come to Chicago, I will show you. Well, I won't. I will point at buildings while Brian tells you what the building is.
And I'll also, shout out to
I'm not going to pretend.
and also shout out to Bud Bieber, who is in Oswego, Illinois. Shout
Oh,
out
yeah.
to him.
He's like
I know
30
he's not
minutes
watching,
from me.
but shout out to him anyway.
Mhm.
I still have not met him. And I know a guy in Oswego that I should go visit, and I haven't visited him in a while either. So I need to probably make a trip out there. But yeah, so Forrest, I'm going to be in New York because Brian is at a conference up at SUNY. So we're flying into New York, and then he's taking a bus or a train, or I don't care, a carrier pigeon up to SUNY, but I'm not going up to the middle of nowhere. I'm going to stay in New York.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
do a few things.
We'll definitely meet up for lunch.
Yeah.
And just
Okay.
I'll get to
I was going to
experience.
say there are many places that I need to go into in the US.
You probably do, and there's a few places that I need to go to in Australia. So someday it's on my bucket list.
And I've also got it's good that Wedge and Big, aka Paul, it's good that he was able to put a comment in there, because I was going to give him a shout out as well, because he was the chap that I did the live stream on Sunday nights, your time, for the best part of 2.5 years.
Okay.
I don't think I'm suggesting coconuts migrate, but I don't know what that means. So, all right, we are coming on the 45-minute mark, which is what I think we have tried to do. At least that's our goal, is 45 minutes to go live.
I was happy to go to an hour, but
this is up to you guys. We went 45 minutes last week, and we have not determined our length of time truly. What do we?
45 minutes, unless we have something extenuating.
I think that's a good idea. Oh no, I was not on the Monty Python route. I apologize for that, Dan. That was my fault. I now get the joke. Yes, I now get the joke.
Yeah,
that was
along the lines of What
I
is
will
the
ask
aerial,
for the internet.
What is the aerial speed
apology.
of a swallow? Yeah.
All right. So we appreciate everyone showing up, and it looks like people tend to show up later. So maybe we should.
Yeah. It's like all these people are coming in now as we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
We've got someone watching from Ireland.
Ireland.
Okay.
Well, Ireland should have been here earlier, because it's like what 11:20 p.m. there now.
Yes. Yes. But we will determine, and maybe next week we go live at 6 Eastern instead of 5:30. We will discuss that. However, to round this out, I am simply going to say goodbye, and follow me on socials. I'll put them in there. Dom,
and buy some adult coloring books.
And yes, do some adult coloring books. Dom, say whatever you want to say, and Forrest is going to round us out.
Okay. I want to, and this is out there for Paul, Wedge and Big. When we did our stream, we used to finish off with a little note about mental health. So I've written a few things down. Mental health struggles are not always visible. They can look like exhaustion, isolation, lost interest, or smiling while carrying a private storm. Talking does not fix everything, but its silences often makes it heavier. Check in on people Speak honestly and seek support. Your mind deserves care, not performance. So if you've got someone out there that you haven't heard in a while, check in on them. Just do a follow up. You've got message. You've got so many different versions of message platforms. You've got Messenger. You've got Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn Messenger, Instagram, Snapchat. Just do that, because the world would be a better place if everybody loves each other.
And checking in with people 100%. All right. So we are not going to talk about Dom's only feet pictures. Okay. So we're going to skip that, Dan. Forrest, you're rounding us out. Tell me when to hit Ed's stream. What do you want to end people with?
First of all, I am never going to live stream to LinkedIn again because I'm live streaming to LinkedIn, I can't comment. So I don't know why that is. But anyway, you can catch up with me on every social media platform. Just search my name, Forrest Huganin, or you can go to my website at intentional, not international, intentionalmoneysolutions.com. And
maybe you should buy internationalmoneysolutions.com.
No, I don't even want to start that.
What you should do is buy that domain and then just get it.
Go on, Forrest. Sorry.
Redirect.
This is what happens. I shouldn't even said this. But anyway, intentionalmoneysolutions.com. You can get the skinny on me. You can schedule time with me there. Or you can join my summer money challenge. If you weren't happy with the first 6 months of this year, let's make darn sure that the last 6 months of this year are pumping on all cylinders.
All right. I just put your link in there. At least it'll go to my stuff. I don't know if it'll go to everybody's stuff, but
thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Definitely go follow Forrest. All right, everyone. See you next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.